continuing on in our web design series, and I just recently received a request for a tutorial on how to arrange images in some different styles here. Um, this one goes out to you, Tatum. Here you go, bud. All right, now we've got some images here that we want to line up, and we're really working hard on creating some content for the middle section or the middle content area of our website now. And what we're finding is that arranging images is a little bit more tricky than it looks. And what he wanted to do is be able to put an image in here with a caption underneath. And then he wanted to put another image next to it and then put a caption underneath that as well. And that's what we're going to look at first. Okay, so getting started with all this, just to kind of walk you through the steps here, I created these pictures just as placeholders. Obviously, these would be his real pictures, and you would have to format them so whether it's 2 or 3 of them, they're going to span the distance of your content area. So we know that our content area is 600 pixels wide. If you need to double check that because you made some changes to your site and you've been customizing it, head up to the styling here, take a look at the content, and make sure that the width is in fact 600 pixels here. And that's what we've got to work with. So whether it's 2 or 3 images divided into that 600, that's what we're working with. Plus you have to factor in some padding, 5 to 10 pixels just to make it look good. Okay, so I created the images, my images, at 275 pixels wide. And that gave me a pretty decent starting point. In retrospect, I would create them probably about 280 because I ended up with a little extra room over on the right side of my images here, which I don't like the look of. So what I started with and what you're going to begin with is we're going to create a new div container. And we're going to call it whatever you want. I called mine top images. So I went hashtag top hyphen images and then a little squirrely bracket there. And then the only thing that I put in there is that the display was black. Okay. Now after I created that, I came down here and I created my div container. So here's our overall container. Here's our header. Here's our sidebar. Okay, and you probably have your menu in here as well. And then we've got the aside, which is off to the left-hand side there. Okay, and then from here we are starting to get into the content area. So here's the content, and then I am going to go ahead and go into the section here. Okay, now here's the first thing that we're going to type in. Div ID equals quotes top hyphen images, close those quotes and close the bracket. Now I just opened up the container. Because I opened the container, of course I have to close the container as well. Now this is the easy part. I'm going to go ahead and just insert my images in here. So using my normal image source tag, I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. The only thing that I'm going to add to my images so that they line up the way that I want them to next to each other is I'm going to add that they float left. So I'm going to add on a style, and I put the margin left on here to line some stuff up too. You can add that in eventually once you get your pictures in. But the main one is float left. And that will help me arrange the images in there. And then I added a padding that goes all the way around the images as well. And you can see that from my image over here, the shadowed area that goes around the image. Okay, if I click on the other one, it's the same thing. I got a little shadow area around there. And that keeps anything from bumping into it. Now, go ahead and add in your images, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 images. Make sure that you've got the width and height exactly the same as what you created the images in Photoshop. Okay, last part. We want to have captions underneath these pictures. So I lined up one picture. I lined up the second picture right under it. If you have a third, you would put it immediately after that too. And then I used this. I used the tag Figcaption. Alright, and it's usually used with figure. But what I found out is using figure kind of messes with the alignment of the pictures and it forces them to go to separate lines, and it didn't work out. So I just used the regular image tag, but I am going to use Figcaption. Now with Figcaption I can go ahead and start that tag, and then I can type my caption here, and then I close my Figcaption. That's the first of these two. So you can see it over here in the live preview. There we have it. Now my second caption is right here, and you can see the code for that. It's immediately afterwards. And then there's my closing tag for my container. Now if I have 3 images, obviously I'm going to have 3 Figcaption tags opening and closing here. Now, there is a little bit of formatting that goes with the Figcaption because when I just put them in by themselves, they all kind of stacked in to the left, and then the other one went underneath it, and one of them went on top of the images, and they were kind of all over the place. So we're going to create a little bit of styling for this. So Figcaption is what we need to remember. Let's go up to our styling area. Make sure we're above our closing styling tag, and this is what I typed in. Okay, I created the Figcaption. Okay, there's no hashtag or anything like that, just Figcaption. We've got the funny bracket. Okay, and then I put that they float left. That way they would stack next to each other. All right, one would go to the left, and then the other one would go immediately to the left of that. I put that the height of them was 40 pixels. That gives me about 2 lines of typing. And then I put that the width was exactly the same width as my pictures. That way they would line up nice and neat underneath. I put that the text wrap was normal so that when it gets to the end of the line, it would automatically go to the next one within that 40 pixel space of height. And then the last thing, I added the same amount of padding to my Figcaptions as I did to my pictures. Now, depending on how many pictures you have in here and how many captions are underneath those, your padding, the sizes, all of that stuff is going to be a little bit different. But this is a perfect setup almost for 2 pictures with 2 captions. Okay, the next one. Give you a little bit of variety here to work with. I wanted to have a way to put an image off to the right and have some text wrap around it. Okay, so I created a new container here. In this container, I just called section. Okay, and then I created this div tag right here. So div ID equals middle images. If I created that container, that means that I'm of course going to have some styling for it. So let's go up there first. Go up to my styling, okay, and here it is with my middle images. Hashtag middle hyphen images, and then the funny bracket. I'm going to have this one actually float right, okay, so that everything gets put off to the right side. The width of the picture again is going to be 275. The margin, I've got 0 on the left, I have 15 on the right, 15 on the top, and 20 below. Okay, that gives me plenty of room. And then I added some padding in there too and text align. Okay, so there's our styling for this middle section div container here. Let's see how we did that in the code. So we go back down. I see RHM middle image container, and here we are. We're opening the container here, and then I placed immediately the image next. Now the image, I used the same exact picture. I made the width the exact same thing, 275, the height is 228, and then I closed up that container. That's the only thing I'm putting in that container. Okay, that's why it's going to be floating right so that it forces it off to the right side. And then it'll go according to the margins and space everything out accordingly. Now, immediately after that container, I have my paragraph of text. Okay, and you can see that over here. So I have all that paragraph right here off to the left. And because of the styling that's on this div container, it forces that paragraph off to the left. Now, those are a couple easy and I think creative ways to kind of help organize some of your information in there. You could apply the same exact principle with the images again. To any of your sections on any of your pages. So feel free to get creative with dropping your images in there. Use this styling. I'll include the styling in the description as well, so you can kind of do some copy and paste, and that'll give you a little bit of a starting place to work with. Okay, thanks for joining us again. This has been another episode of Red Hawk Media. Bye.